Welcome everyone. I'm Jim, your DER, Designated Employer Representative. You're attending this initial training to learn about the safety risks of drug abuse and alcohol misuse and to meet the requirements of our FAA drug and alcohol testing program. In order to get things started, I'd like to ask you to open the information packets in front of you. Go ahead, open them up. Inside, you'll see the drug policy and alcohol regulation brochure.
For my first week as a mechanic, they sure give you a lot of information.
That's an understatement. Hey, be sure to sign the sheet that's going around. You want to make sure you receive credit for your initial training.
It is important that the designated employer representative implement a successful DOT FAA workplace drug and alcohol testing program. How well employees are informed is dependent on two things: an effective employee assistance program, or EAP, and an alcohol misuse prevention program. These educational programs include clearly written company policies that contain the consequences for using drugs or alcohol while performing a safety-sensitive function. They must also contain the consequences for testing positive or refusing to submit to testing. Training is also required for company supervisors.
Here's some important information about our DOT FAA drug and alcohol testing policy. If you have any questions, my number and email are on the back. Thanks again for attending.
Quick question. Can you tell me again what I should do if I observe something suspicious from a safety-sensitive coworker? I want to make sure I understand.
Great question. If you're concerned about a safety-sensitive coworker, contact your supervisor immediately. They're trained to detect drug use and alcohol misuse. Behavior, appearance, speech, even smell can be a telltale sign. They'll evaluate the situation and determine whether testing is necessary. You can also call me. My number is on the back of the brochure and the policy statement. It's also on bulletin boards in the break room and in the hangar.
Yeah, there's a lot of help out there. Between the DOT and FAA websites and these materials, you'll have a ton of support. Plus, in our office, they have the drug and alcohol testing policy posted just about everywhere.
When implementing your DOT FAA drug and alcohol education program, it's important to include the following: initial training for employees and supervisors. This training must be documented and maintained for 2 years. Supervisors are required to complete an hour each of initial drug and initial alcohol training before making a reasonable cause or reasonable suspicion determination. Supervisors must complete recurrent drug training. Best practice is every 12 to 18 months. Keep in mind that although recurrent training is not required for alcohol, it's still considered a best practice. Employers must display and distribute 3 specific items as part of their EAP: informational material, a community service hotline number for employee assistance, and the employer's drug policy. This policy must contain the consequences of using drugs while performing a safety-sensitive function, having a verified positive drug test, and refusing to submit to a drug test. Your alcohol policy must include the consequences of violating any of the alcohol prohibitions: blood alcohol concentration of 0.04 or greater, drinking alcohol while on duty or before duty, consuming alcohol within 8 hours after being involved in an accident, and refusing to submit to an alcohol test. The DER is responsible for distributing alcohol misuse prevention information, which includes the consequences for those employees who misuse alcohol. As a DER for an aviation employer, familiarize yourself with the DOT FAA drug and alcohol testing regulations. Visit faa.gov/go/drug abatement to learn more best practices and obtain sample policies and postings. If you have a unique problem or situation or need clarification on how to comply, please contact the FAA's Drug Abatement Office for assistance. As a designated employer representative, you are responsible for keeping your company in compliance. The result is, the skies are safer when you do everything right.